Welcome back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast on the GSMC Sports Network. We are bringing you our third segment here, which is going to be talking about the Texas Rangers and some recent roster moves they have had with their team and just how it's going to affect them and my general thoughts on it. So yeah, let's get into that. So the Texas Rangers today announced that Evan Carter would be going on the injured list, and they would be calling back from the injured list Wyatt Langford and Nathan Eovaldi. Now, I think these are pretty substantial moves here. Obviously, you're sending one of your starting outfielders to the injured list, but bringing back your starting DH and one of your better starting pitchers. And I think right now, if any team needs a boost, it's the Rangers. Currently 26 and 29, 3.5 games back in the AL West. Even they're still second in the AL West somehow, but yeah, they're very far behind in the wild card standings. They're below 5 teams for the playoffs, so definitely not great. But these moves should be interesting. Now, sending Evan Carter to the injured list honestly isn't the worst thing in the world. You look at Evan Carter's stats currently, and man, he has really, really underperformed so far this year. Was a guy I looked at last year and thought, man, what is he going to do in a full year? How good is he going to end up being? And I looked at Wyatt Langford the same way. I'm kind of going to bunch these two guys into the same thing here. So looking at the Rangers this offseason, if you watched my earlier parts of the show when I did it before and during the offseason, I was kind of skittish on the Rangers. I was thinking, I understand this team just won the World Series. I understand the talent they have, but I'm just not a big fan of this team. And the main reason I wasn't a big fan of this team was the pitching. I always stood by the fact that I thought this pitching was pretty horrible, especially with the injuries they suffered, Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom. And I thought that overall this team just wasn't that good. Now, I took some time to think about it, and I thought, okay, I still don't think the pitching is that good, but you're getting back Tyler Mahle, Max Scherzer, and Jacob deGrom in the second half, potentially. Probably that's when their rehab's supposed to end. You're adding a full season of Evan Carter to this lineup. You're adding a full season of Wyatt Langford to this lineup. I think that even though their pitching is really bad, their hitting is going to help overcome that, and then in the second half, they're going to get a lot of players back. That was my thought process when I put the Rangers into the playoffs, and I thought they would be a good team. Now, if I knew that Wyatt Langford was going to struggle this much, and I knew Evan Carter was going to struggle this much, I definitely wouldn't have done that. They were the main big reasons why I had this team in the playoffs, and I think currently with them underperforming so much right now, both of them, it is the big reason why the Rangers are underperforming so much right now. I mean, Evan Carter has really not done good this year. Wyatt Langford has done bad. Obviously, he's coming back, so hopefully you can see something different with that. But yeah, I think that's really affecting the Rangers right now, and it really is a big impact on this team. Now, again, I think Evan Carter going the IL isn't the worst thing in the world. He gets some time off, gets a breather, gets a look at the game on the bench, just gets to see the game in slow motion, really, quote unquote. I know for a lot of players who struggle, that really helps them just watching the game, seeing other plays going about it. And Evan Carter is an outstanding player, extremely talented, and I don't think he should struggle for much longer. I think that he is going to end up becoming the Evan Carter of last year, becoming the Evan Carter that was so highly sought after as a prospect. So I think that is good. And Wyatt Langford, really the same thing. Langford was a guy I talked about a lot on my show before in the offseason and spring training. If you watch my show, then you know about it. I mean, I made a million videos on them, or made a million, or mentioned Wyatt Langford a million times over the course of my show. I thought his bat was amazing, and I thought he was a Mike Trout level prospect. I still stand by that, but this year he has not done as well as I thought. And I thought him providing an immediate boost to this lineup would be one of the reasons why this Rangers team would end up becoming really good. Sorry, we actually have some breaking news in the middle of this, so I'll actually just talk about that really quickly. This does not really happen much. We just talked about it. Edwin Diaz has been placed on the 15-day IL for the Mets with a right shoulder impingement. That is pretty significant news, as we're now seeing maybe a potential reason why he did not come in for a save situation yesterday and why he potentially has been struggling. That is, I would say, pretty significant news. Now, there's potential that this could just be a phantom IL situation where they want him to just get some rest on the injured list. But at the same time, a shoulder injury, an arm injury for a pitcher, that doesn't seem like something you'd fake. So that is pretty significant news here. I'll probably be talking about that tomorrow. So yeah, significant news here for the Mets and for baseball. It would have been nice if it broke during the Mets segment I had 5 minutes ago, but that's what happens here. So yeah, sorry for the little cutaway if you're a Rangers fan watching in this, but did want to mention that as it just did break on air here. So yeah, we'll be talking about that probably tomorrow. So check in there. But going back to the Rangers, I think with Langford going on the IL back when he did wasn't the worst thing in the world. I think that it gave him a chance, like Evan Carter, to step back and see the game. This is a kid who is around 20 years old, just got back from college, and is hitting cleanup for the defending world champions. That's a lot of pressure. He's the starting DH on the world champion Texas Rangers and his cleanup for this team, hitting in the middle of the order with guys like Marcus Semien, like Corey Seager, like Adolis Garcia, like Nathaniel Lowe, like Jonah Heim. That's a lot of pressure on him, and I think it might have got to him. He had a 63 weighted runs created plus, which is pretty horrible, and it's not like he was playing defense again because he was a DH. So overall, I think it was good for the Rangers that they were able to not have him injured, quote unquote, but have him get on the injured list, see the game from a different perspective, and be able to have him sit down and say, maybe this is what I'm doing wrong, this, yada, 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 sitting him down and hopefully getting him right. I still believe in Wyatt Langford. I think he's an outstanding player, extraordinary good, and very excited to watch him for the future, and very excited to see him come off the injured list and see what does end up happening here. Now, going to Nathan Eovaldi, I think getting him back is great. The Rangers rotation has struggled a little bit these past few weeks, especially with Eovaldi on the injured list, so getting him back is a really great thing. I think it solidifies the rotation more. You should get potentially Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom back in the next month or two, and that is really going to end up helping this team. So, yeah, I think overall the Rangers rotation is looking up. A lot of depth is coming back to you, and if I'm a Rangers fan, I'd be excited about where this team is going, especially if you can get these two guys, deGrom and Scherzer, back with Eovaldi and get this overall team going. So, yeah, if I'm overall looking at this Rangers team, though, it's going to be a tough road from here. Again, you have a lot of players coming back, but you're already 4 games behind the Mariners, and there's a lot of teams in the AL for the wild card. The Astros are looking better, so we'll have to see what happens with them, but I still believe in them. I still think they are a playoff team when fully healthy. They might be the rest roster in baseball, factoring in Jacob deGrom. Now, how good is 2024 Jacob deGrom coming off a second Tommy John surgery going to be? Not really sure, but it's still Jacob deGrom. We have to put respect in that name for how good he is when he's healthy. So, Max Scherzer, same thing. Again, he's like 40 at this point, so I'm not sure how impactful he's going to be, but he still is Max Scherzer. That's still a name you hear, and you give some respect to it. So it's going to be interesting to watch the Rangers for the rest of this year and seeing what does happen with them in the future, and I am going to be very, very interested to watch them. So, yeah, that was it for our third segment here, talking about the Texas Rangers and the recent roster moves. Also, some Mets talk because breaking news happened during it. So, yeah, we're going into our fourth segment, which is going to be talking about Jeremiah Estrada and for the San Diego Padres and the recent run he has been on and the performance he has done. So, yeah, we'll talk about that, and we'll see you after the break. So, thanks, and bye.